It's About Time with Rashawn's About Time Boxing, aka Mr. Trill 100 Mil. What's up to my About Time Boxing family and the Trill 100 Mil gang? Thank you to every single one of y'all who has been taking out the time to subscribe to the channel, watch the videos, like the videos, share the videos, and leave the comments. If you have not already subscribed to the channel and you're watching this video or any of my videos for the first time, please subscribe to the channel. Encourage others to subscribe to the channel. Pass the word about Rashawn's About Time Boxing. Become part of the About Time Boxing family and the Trill 100 Mil gang. I want to give a shout out to my guy at Rebel Life Boxing. So if y'all have not subscribed to his channel, please subscribe to his channel and the others that I'm going to mention. You know, like shout out to Nate's Boxing Nation, Mark Nash, Hustler's Home, MZ Always Talk Boxing, and shout out to just to new media. But the small channels, we here and we rocking. It's taking us some time, but we ain't stopping. So like I said, check all those guys out. Rebel Life Boxing, Nate's Boxing Nation, MZ Always Talk Boxing, Hustler's Home Boxing, Mark Nash. So subscribe to those channels too as well. So support those guys. All right, so the final press conference for Errol Spence and Yordenis Ugas. All right, to backtrack but not to. I mean, of course. All right, so we got Ugas, who's 27-4 with 12 knockouts. We got Spence, who's 27-0 with 21 knockouts. So we know who has the advantage in the power section there. And this is why Spence started talking about a knockout, and Ugas was like, he's just guaranteeing the win, because he noted it's highly unlikely that he could actually hurt Errol Spence. Now we're gonna dive into a few things. I'm gonna try to keep this video as short as I can. I try to keep all my videos short, but sometimes certain points have to be made. But all right, and this is not taking nothing from either one of these fighters, so I don't want people to misunderstand or misconstrue some of the things that I'm gonna say. And I'm not trying to offend anybody, you know what I mean, but sometimes the truth hurts. All right, so but the thing is, a lot of people is making it seem like Ugas has fought all these big names and he paid his dues and all that. I mean, and now we understand he went through the stuff earlier in his career with being I think he was a political refugee and all that stuff, trying to get out of Cuba and all that kind of stuff. So I commend him for all that, just for never quitting in general. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Ugas for that. And for him, he has a child that's autistic, so he's an advocate for that, and for people that have alopecia and things like that. So for the things that he do outside the ring, I commend and respect Ugas for those things. Trill 100 Mil, no, you know what I'm saying, like, it's no knocking that. But let's be clear about why Ugas is in the spotlight now. He, everybody, like, oh, he took the fight with Pacquiao on short notice. No. But come on, Pacquiao has been past his prime. So he beat a old, past his prime, over the hill Pacquiao, and people making it seem like he would have never beaten a Manny Pacquiao in his prime. I don't care what nobody say. Ugas is an okay fighter, but his skill set is not of the upper crust. He's not an elite fighter in the welterweight division. He's not. Ugas is like that guy that you would I put him over Blair Cobbs. Blair Cobbs the guy you put on your resume. You're a prospect, another name that you beat. But Ugas is, could be like a gatekeeper. He's the guy that you will fight to see that, to make to ensure that you're ready to fight the top guys. That's where I rank Ugas at. That's my opinion. If you disagree, that's fine. Drop the comments in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like this video. But That's where I have Ugas at. He's a mid-level, mediocre fighter. And the only reason that he's in this situation is because he beat Manny Pacquiao. And he was replaced by Spence, who was supposed to have the fight. Okay? So let's not get this mixed up and make it seem like, like Ugas fought all these guys. And that's not saying, of course, he's saying that he wants to fight all these guys. But after he beat Pacquiao, that's when Ugas, he took a stance, and I respect him for that, planted his feet firmly. And he told the WBA, like, nope, I want just big fights now. I want Errol Spence or Terrence Crawford. That's the next fight that I want after the Pacquiao fight. And the reason why is because this is his moment. And I don't mean his moment like he's going to beat Errol Spence, because I don't see him beating Errol Spence. That's just the reality of it. I don't. But this is his moment, meaning this is his moment in the spotlight. I'm not going to call it his 15 minutes of fame. Some people may call it that. But this is his moment in the spotlight. And now more people would know of his name because of who he's fighting. A lot of people got wind of his name when he beat Pacquiao. Pacquiao has a huge fan base. So Ugas was able to win some of them over when he beat Pacquiao. But a lot of people know, again, like I said, Pacquiao was a shell of himself when he fought Ugas. That's just the reality of it. Had he fought Errol Spence may have stopped Pacquiao. It's possible he could have stopped him. As a matter of fact, the Pacquiao that beat Adrian Broner and Keith Thurman, Ugas would not have beaten that Pacquiao. And that wasn't, too long ago, some years ago, but Ugas wouldn't have beaten that Pacquiao with a full training camp. So he took the fight on 2 weeks' notice. So that just goes to show you just how diminished Pacquiao actually was in his skill and in his skill level. That Ugas could take the fight on 2 weeks' notice and beat him. Like, people looking at it like, no, he beat Pacquiao, he only took the fight on 2 weeks' notice. But you got to look at the fighter Pacquiao was when Ugas took that fight. Pacquiao wasn't the Pacquiao we know. The Pacquiao that knocked out Ricky Hatton, that gave Antonio Margarito a detached retina when he fought him in Texas. That's not that Pacquiao. So now this is what got him his moment. Now, I'm not trying to rain on that parade. Okay, take it how you can get it. But this is his moment. And this is where I feel like Ugas, what people gonna see. Yeah, he fought, Sean Porter. But I already told y'all when Sean Porter was preparing for Terrence Crawford what type of fighter Sean Porter was. Some of y'all think Sean Porter is a top fighter. He's just a little above mid-level fighter who had a big name because of the people that he fought. See, this boxing thing is funny. That's just like when Lennox Lewis knocked out Mike Tyson. He didn't knock out the Mike Tyson that, that was steamrolling his way through everybody. That beat, Terrell Biggs and Tony Tucker and Razor Ruddock, and all those guys. Trevor Berbick. Lennox Lewis didn't beat that Mike Tyson. So again, like I said, Ugas didn't beat that Pacquiao that knocked out Ricky Hatton, that beat Margarito and all these other, and Adrian Broner, Keith Thurman, and the list goes on and on. So Ugas he has to take advantage of this moment. However, I don't feel like skill-wise he's going to be able to do it. Now, all that talk about Errol Spence being the megalodon, shark, the big fish, like, in my opinion, the only reason he called himself the big fish is because he holds half of the welterweight slice. He got 2 of the belts, so of course. If Ugas had two of the belts, then maybe people would consider him the big fish, or if anybody. And okay, and Errol Spence, I give him credit. His resume speaks for itself. He's fought, a lot of guys. Lamont Peterson, Mikey Garcia, Danny Garcia, Kell Brook went over across the waters to UK, took his title. So he proved that, he willing to step in the fire. But I do feel like after, he got to a certain level, he got kind of complacent, a little comfortable, and then he started kind of acting like Keith Thurman acted towards him when he was chasing Keith Thurman. He started acting like that a little bit. Y'all can deny it all y'all want, but he did. And me personally, I felt like that he was too good of a fighter, and I felt like his skill level could prove that, you know what I mean? Because he said he was there to prove that he can beat the best. That's what he said. Yeah, I'm here to prove I can beat the best. Yeah, I'm the best. I want to be, first ever to do it. A welterweight champion. I want to be the first to ever do it. I know that I could beat the best. And now he said a whole lot of stuff, in reference to the, fighting Terrence Crawford. And before it was like, oh, Crawford need to go ahead. He said all that stuff. All that stuff is public information. When Crawford was still underneath Bob Arum and all that, he was talking about, oh, he can forget about it. It's not gonna happen. But now you got Jaron Ennis lurking with his fight with Castillo Clayton. He's gonna become the mandatory, because this is the IBF title eliminator for Jaron Ennis. So now he's saying, oh well, the only fight that makes sense is to fight Terrence Crawford. But people have been saying that for the longest time. Even when he was saying, I don't make no sense to fight him, Dennis, you take care of your business on your side of the street, I take care of my business on my side of the street. But just like Devin Haney said, a lot of people thought Devin Haney was crazy for taking less and all that kind of stuff just to make this undisputed fight happen with Kambosos. But Devin Haney said, look, it's up to the fighters to make the fight. Everybody looking at me like I'm crazy or talking about, I'm stupid for taking less and bending to this, that, and the third and all that. But if you really trying to prove that you the best and it's about your legacy and you know what I mean, you trying to, solidify your name in this game, he said if the fighters really want, then they can make the fight happen. But the thing is, when fighters get to a certain level, they feel like, hey, you know what I mean? Now I'm that guy, so now I'm going to start acting like the people who was acting funny towards me when I was chasing them trying to get the belt. So now I'm in that position, I'm going to act the same way. When you really shouldn't be that way. And Errol Spence was kind of being that way. And and those of y'all who watching this video, if y'all going to be real with yourself, y'all know what I'm saying is right. Y'all know it. But nonetheless, the fight with him and Ugas is here. So now, like I said, I do feel like that Errol Spence is going to walk Ugas down. It's possible he may stop him late in the fight. Ugas' chin is a little suspect. Ugas fights one way, flat-footed. He fights hunched over. He walks forward. He always shaking his arms out. He hunch in and come in, And Errol Spence like to attack the body. He like to go to the body. If he start breaking Ugas down to the body and mixing it up, go to that body, then come back up to that head, like he said, if the knockout come, he's going to take it. Now, if Ugas lose this fight, then that's it. Only other chance he got is maybe fight the winner of Stanionis and Butayev. Because remember, it's the discrepancy with the WBA and that belt. One is the super or whatever, and then one is the regular. Butayev, I think, got the regular. Ugas got the super, or whatever the situation is with the WBA and those two belts. So it's two welterweight champions in the WBA. It's two WBA champions in the welterweight division. So maybe he can, maybe go after that belt. But the bottom line is, if Ugas loses this fight, only other person I can see maybe wanting to fight Ugas is Keith Thurman, because he's the one trying to pick all of the safest fights, for the most money that he can get. He's trying to pick a safe way to get back to a belt. That's what Thurman is trying to do. He thinks he's going to maneuver his way. But now I'm going to say this. So Ugas lose this fight, and Errol Spence got those 3 belts. And he's saying now it shouldn't be no issue to make that fight with Terrence Crawford. And I don't care what none of y'all say. Some of y'all may disagree, but this is my opinion. Now, should Errol Spence beat Ugas and he finds some way to get out of fighting Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence is going to be looked at as a fraud. Yeah, I know he don't care like how people look at him, this, that, and the third. Well, three out of 4 of the belts ain't bad. But if he don't make that fight happen with Terrence Crawford, because even in the press conference he said that's the only fight that makes sense. Ugas said the same thing. If he win, he gonna go after Terrence Crawford, because when he won the W, when he beat Pacquiao and got the belt, he said it was 1 or 2 fights he wanted, either Errol Spence or Terrence Crawford. So he got, and they tried not to give him the fight, but he held out until he got what he wanted. So he stuck to his guns. So I don't know, I think it was Jose Suleiman or something like that, whoever it is that's over the WBA, they tried to stiff him. But he ended up holding out, and he ended up getting what he wanted. And to be honest, this is a safe fight for Errol Spence. I don't care how y'all look at it. This is a safe fight for Errol Spence. A safe and somewhat easy fight. And I know Derek James and Errol Spence got to be looking at it like that, because Ugas really don't oppose no trouble. He can't really hurt Errol Spence. So that's a safe fight. That's why I said, if Ugas lose, the only other big fights that he could probably get, like I said, is he might be able to get a fight with Terrence Crawford if Errol Spence don't do it. Or, it's possible. But I can see Keith Thurman creeping out the shadows, calling out Ugas, because it's a safe fight. He know Ugas don't really have no power. He don't oppose no threat. Then at this time he would have 5 losses because he lost to Errol Spence, So, but that's the way I see it. And again, if Errol Spence don't make this fight happen, because should he beat Ugas, there's no excuse why him and Terrence Crawford shouldn't have a deal inked, and they should not be fighting by the end of this year. By the end of this year or early 2023, they should be fighting. January 2023, something like that, or by the end of this year, 2022. They should have a deal after he beat Ugas. That deal should be in place, and it should be inked. And I know a lot of y'all still feel like, they would have been made the fight happen if Crawford would have just took the 60-40 split. Nope, I think 50-50 is fair. Because if they make that fight happen, whatever numbers this pay-per-view with Ugas do, the fight with Spence and Crawford is going to do probably double or triple that. Trust me. The build-up is already there. They just got to ink that deal, set the date, and get it popping. That's all they got to do. But again, if Errol Spence, and y'all leave the comments in the comment section below, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share this video. But if Errol Spence do not make this fight happen with Terrence Crawford, should he beat Ugas, and I believe that he will. But in my opinion, I think Errol Spence is going to be looked at as a fraud. People are going to look at him as a fraud. They're going to look at him like he's scared. And like, okay, now he said all this stuff. Why he trying to avoid Terrence Crawford? And this, that, and the third and all that. And Derek James, they talked about, Errol Spence could go up to he spar heavyweights. And he can go up to 160. Not saying that we're going to do that, but 160 would be a foolish mistake for Errol Spence to go up to 160. Those guys are too big for him. Because even a long time ago when they talked about him fighting Triple G or somebody like that, he said, oh man, I wouldn't do that. Because he know 54 would be the max for him. So is he going to make this fight happen, or is he going to scoot on up to 54? So we going to see. So what do y'all think? Y'all think they're going to make this fight with Crawford happen, or is he going to avoid Terrence Crawford? And if he do avoid him, is Errol Spence a fraud? Are y'all going to look at him as he's a fraud, or do y'all think that the sport of boxing don't need the fight? Me personally, boxing absolutely needs this fight. Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford, boxing needs it absolutely. 1,000,000,000%. No questions about it. Boxing need this fight more than it needs Spence and Ugas. Way more. Because we know he already made it clear he's not going to fight Jaron Ennis, even when he beat, even if, Jaron Ennis beat Castillo Clayton and becomes the #1 contender for the IBF. He wants to be the first to be the welterweight undisputed champion. So let's see how true the truth is about his word. Subscribe to the channel. Like this video, share this video, leave the comments in the comment section below. That's all I got for now. Until, we do it again.